Your Words Destroyed My Planet, the stream series. The edited version. Originally streamed live at twitch.tv/dualitiesdownfall. More information in the description.
Your Words Destroyed My Planet, Chapter 59. Dave is gone, or he's gone for now, and you need to find him. It's plain enough that the ship's search should have picked him up. You can't find a fault in the programming anywhere, and you have looked very hard for one. You keep it running and think your way around this. Dave is smart. He knows what he's doing, and he knows a lot more than people give him credit for. The ship he was on jumped somehow. Either he was made to do it, or they've also figured out how to do the same thing. So maybe the same rules don't apply. Maybe this void shit is throwing off the scans and you need to recalibrate it for something else, or you need to check over and over in case the journey to wherever he went took longer. You can find him. You probably won't find him today, but you're going to find him. Dave is going to be relying on all of you to keep up your side of this and keep looking.
Solix? Nepeta says softly, sitting on the chair next to you and placing her hand on your shoulder. We need to talk. We really don't, you say, fiddling with a few variables. You need an actual astrophysicist on this. He'll have to find someone better than you soon. There are procedures with this. I'm sorry, Nepeta tells you. Yeah, I remember from Matuna, you say stiffly. Anyone lost without a trace like that is regarded as dead. They have to be. You can kind of see why, knowing what you know now. They don't want people looking out into space and reaching out for someone. You don't know what would reach back. You kicked up enough protest that Matuna's memorial plaque was never inscribed, but it was still assigned, recorded on the system, and he was listed as dead all the same. The blank plaque didn't change that. Dave is officially lost, officially dead. They'll have a funeral, a box with no body inside and photos on the top. It's going to be a lot of paperwork when he gets back, you warn her. I'd be really happy to do that paperwork, Nepeta tells you in a trembling voice. You set off another scan and look at her properly. Her hair is a mess and her eyes are filled with faint green and watery tears. He's not dead. We just don't know where he is, you insist. Nepeta presses her lips together tightly and her breath hitches. She's trying to keep quiet, but a tear rolls down her cheek anyway. It's not your fault. We're getting him back. It's... A noise from the console jerks your attention back to it, but it's a negative result. It's just gonna take a little time. Solix, this isn't like looking for your badge in your block. If it's not finding the ship... Nepeta insists, but you're not hearing it. It's because it's not looking properly. The ship is weird. There was circuit psionics going on. They got away with the void. We don't know what we're looking for. You correct her. It's huge, and our scans reach... Nepeta starts again. We can't see everything. There's planets and stars, and you don't know where he is. Someone's going to find him, even if someone else in the fleet sees him first. You argue back. Obviously, we'll ask people to look, but... You have to accept that he's gone. He was my friend. I wish this wasn't happening too, but it is, and... Nepeta slumps forward, her face in her hands. He's not dead, you say sharply. You think you say it. Your words seem to bounce around the room with way more force than saying really suggests. You might have just shouted that. People around the room are looking at you with pity. Nepeta lifts her face from her hands, sniffs, and wipes her cheeks clean. You've been running scans for 2 hours, Solix, she whispers. Not saying, and if you were going to find him, you would have, but you still hear it. 2.5. You turn in your chair and see Karkat sitting by the wall closest to you, maybe about 10 feet away from you. You hadn't even realized he was there. Karkat looks dead inside, all hollowed out and just holding it together on the surface. You didn't even know he was sitting there, and you get the strong feeling he's been there the entire time.
Around the room, the telemetry staff are all looking at you sadly, and no doubt they've been giving Karkat the same look. They think Dave is dead, so of course they're all looking at you like that.
Can we go home?
Karkat asks weakly. You want to cling to the console, to run more searches on all sorts of different patterns, but Karkat needs you too.
We'll keep looking. We'll keep it running looking for him,
Nepeta says before you can ask her. It's not really good enough, but someone needs to be looking for Dave. At the very least, you know that Dave would be upset if you ditched Karkat and didn't sleep at all. You're going to fix this. You're going to find him and get him back, but not this second. Karkat's shoulders slump as you get up and walk over to him. He grabs hold of your clothes and presses his face to your middle.
Please,
he asks into your shirt. Let's go, you tell him and pull him up. You stumble a little when you go to pull him to his feet. He ends up nearly pulling you down to him. Either he's too tired and unused to being stronger, or you're still off of your game from that dream migraine shit from before. Your head is still throbbing, but you're ignoring it. There's bigger things going on. The two of you manage to stand without fucking it up, and you leave the room. Karkat pulls you along towards the train station, but the whole way there, your mind is whirring. You need to talk to the others and work out how the ship jumped like that. How can you find it? Can you talk to the balancers on Redglaire's ship now? If so, that's more people who might have an idea. If the ship is hidden somehow, then is there anything Dave has on him that you can track, or any way he can contact you? You don't know how that works, but you need to find someone who does. Roxy and Dirk would know about any tech they made. Equius would know about Dave's eyes. Maybe Nepeta can tell you more about what he had on him at the time? Wait, no, Jake can tell you that. It's going to suck, but you're going to have to get answers from Matuna and Psionic about the ship. You need to know what Dave has at his disposal to contact you or to escape. If you know what he knows, then you can get him out, or find him, or something. Wait, where? You trail off as Karkat pulls you away from the main line and down to the emergency section.
Nepeta said we can,
Karkat says, his voice weak and tired. You glance across the station as you start down the ramp. Dave's picture flashes across a screen hanging from the ceiling. It's his official sailor photograph, so formal it hardly looks like the Dave you know. Dave Strider, missing in action, presumed dead. He's not dead, you say, even though it's only the screen saying it. Karkat's hand tightens around yours, and he leads you out of the way of the screens and into the carriage in the emergency line. He's not dead, you say again. That's what everything is saying. I can't stand seeing the announcements. It's so soon. I can't, Karkat says and jabs the buttons to make the train start moving. I should save a copy, you say, and Karkat stares at you. For when he gets back, he can send it to people when he wants to get out of doing things. He can't go, he's dead. Karkat looks anguished at the idea. I didn't say it's a good joke, but it's just the kind of shit he's going to do when we get him back. But it'll probably take time, even for him. His therapist is probably going to have him for life now, but he'll get there, and I'll have it for when he wants to use it. It's Dave, you explain. Karkat sits down on the chairs wearily. He's got his elbows on his knees and his head hanging down heavily. Since you're clearly not helping the Karkat situation, you check your palm husk. There's a whole bunch of people in your social circle giving their sympathies and checking in on you. You'd appreciate it, but they're all being sympathetic about Dave being dead and not missing. No one in Dave's family has messaged you, though. You're not surprised. It has to be stressful for them, too. We're going to find him. My scans couldn't find the ship, but they're going to keep looking. I need to sleep and deal with KK, but tomorrow I need to talk to you about how else we can track where Dave is gone. I'm sure you're fucked up about it, but we can do this. Get Dirk and Roxy in on it. EQ, anyone who can help. We're bringing Dave home. You backspace on saying that it's hoofbeast shit that they're making his family go through a funeral when Dave isn't dead. Not because you're wrong about that, but because that's gonna be raw enough as it is. You remember what that's like. You've done this before. What did the others say? I was too focused on the scan. You say. It's more accurate to say that you lost your shit and flew your ass to telemetry and did nothing else. The others? Karkat asks and looks up at you. AA, Gamzee, Damara? They've been doing this longer than us. You elaborate. GHB counts there, but he's not reliable, to say the least. We're all really fucked up about it, he answers. No ideas about the jump or the void? You check, and Karkat shakes his head. Well, fuck. Maybe Aradia will have more thoughts when she's... You can't say that you trailed off there, not with how suddenly your jaw snapped shut. That was a stop, a full stop. Something inside your chest tightens and wrenches against everything else. Let's wait until we're home, Karkat says gently, touching your side and making your breathing start up again. That's probably smart. You should wait. You stand there in silence and look at your palm husk a few times. Hal hasn't trolled you back, but that's fine. There's also no message from Dave being like, holy shit, I just teleported back onto the ship. I'm a fucking genius. You know he would do something like that. He hasn't, though, no matter how many times you reopen Trollian just in case the message alert hasn't come in. Getting Dave back is going to be harder than that. Karkat leads you off of the train and up to your hive without another word between you two. When the door shuts behind you both, it's eerie. This is hardly the first time the two of you have been here without Dave. Far from it. It's just that you've never been home when he's so far away. You both stare at Dave's closed door for several long seconds until Karkat pulls you into his room. Karkat sits down heavily on his bed, curling forward with his face in his hands again. His fingers are tangled in his hair, and you can see that they're shaking ever so slightly. We'll find him, you promise Karkat, your hand brushing one of his rounded horns. We don't know where he is or how we'd find him. I watched you looking for him for hours, Karkat chokes out. Yeah, but we're going to find him. Not today, but we're going to. That ship has to come near the fleet at some point. We can scan for it. I can write something that Mindfang psionics can't fool, you remind him. The fleet isn't talking to us. They might do, maybe, but at the moment it's only Reglar's ship, Karkat says loudly, looking up at you with tears in his eyes. If you're about to make this your fault because it was your virus that stopped them talking to us, you warn him. It is! Even you know it! He snaps. Yeah, you fucked things up with your virus by accident, getting that program into everything, but hey, if the fleet won't look for Dave, I'll write something that'll make them. Put it into a way better version of your virus, and unlike yours, no one's going to catch it. We're finding Dave, you hiss at him. This isn't Karkat's fault, and you're not letting him take the blame. You're going to infect the whole fleet to make them scan space for Dave? Karkat asks in a strangled tone. It shouldn't get to that. After everything Dave's done, they should look for him on their own. Yeah, if I have to, I'll do it, you say, sitting next to Karkat on the bed. That's treason. They could space you for that, Karkat whispers in horror. You narrow your eyes at Karkat. You all jumped the Atuan ahead with Dave before, and even if you've never pulled that stunt on just your own body, you bet that getting spaced would be a hell of an incentive. It's hard to push someone out of an airlock when they can zip back inside like they've turned the clipping off of reality. Not to mention that you're the most powerful psionic there is. No one is forcing you anywhere. Besides, Karkat already started a revolution about this shit. He'd do it a second time for you if he had to. We're finding Dave, no matter what, you say with finality. You're not debating that. Karkat opens his mouth and seems to think about his words. Whatever it was that he was going to say, he chooses not to say it. He leans against your side and then wraps his arms around you. The pair of you slowly topple back onto his bed. As soon as you're horizontal, Karkat wriggles on top of you and clings tightly onto you, like you might vanish if he doesn't hold on. like Dave did. Your breath catches again, and you sink your claws into Karkat's uniform.
I keep thinking, what if I'd gone down right away? What if I hadn't waited for you to wake up?
He whispers into your chest. You already did this math. When you were up here watching the last things that Dave's eyes showed you, you ran the mental calculations. You'd have been on the planet at the same time, but you'd have been hours away, and you didn't know. You tell him. Karkat couldn't have done anything. This isn't on him. Karkat leans up on his elbows and looks at you. It's not your fault. You can't look at him, so you look at the ceiling. You couldn't have done anything more. We're going to find him.
Solix,
Karkat whispers and reaches for your face.
We're going to find him. He's not vanished into thin air. He's somewhere. I just need to find where that is and get him back.
You add.
Solix, what if he doesn't come back? We need to talk about this,
Karkat says, moving onto his hands and knees so he can look right down at you.
You can't say that,
you whisper.
You looked. You scanned over and over, and no one is smarter than you. You couldn't find him, Solix. No one can. We're not going to stop looking, but it's a big universe. Please, Solix, we need to talk about this,
he begs you. Fire burns in your chest at the very idea. How can Karkat even say this? He's probably just trying to be reasonable, but he can't think that. How could he? No, you know Dave. You know how smart he is. You know what he's survived. I'm not going to stop looking, and we're going to find something, to think of something. We're going to make everyone look for him, and we're going to find him, you argue.
And if we still don't find him?
Karkat asks. His eyes fill with tears, but he collapses back onto your chest before any of them can fall on you from above. The thought of Dave never coming back tries to enter your mind and is immediately denied. You will find him.
We will. We'll find him,
you promise, and rub Karkat's side as he cries. You're not going to cry, and maybe if you thought about this situation before, then you might have thought you'd have to try hard not to cry, but you don't. Karkat is crying because he's dealing with the idea that Dave might be dead or gone forever, but you're not. You're not dealing with it because it's not happening. Dave is coming back. You're going to get him back in this hive again, and you can't waste space in your head thinking about the idea that he might never come back. You need those think sponge cells working on a way to get him back, not on visualizing something awful like that. Besides, you don't need to imagine what it's like to stay in a home, waiting for someone you love to be found and come home alive. You know what that's like. You've done it already. There's one thing you won't do twice.
I'll think of something. I'll get people to help. We'll find him,
you tell Karkat. You don't imagine Dave never coming home. You imagine him where he is right now. He's probably already trying to find a way back to us, getting into other people's shit. He's smart. He'll find a way to contact us or to do something, you say with certainty. You don't know that. You know that you're getting Dave back, but you don't know that he's trying to escape right now. Or rather, you don't know that he's able to. Dave could be in a way worse situation than you're painting for Karkat. You know that. He may well not be able to escape, or do anything to get a message or a sign out to you. You'd like to hope that he can, but you can't count on that. You can count on Dave being Dave, which means that if he gets a real chance at doing that, you know he'll take it. You know he'll have his eyes open for an opportunity, because Dave is cool and smart in a crisis. The other side to that is that you have to do your part to get him back, to find him so that you can start a rescue, cause the chaos he needs to get out. Or, if you can't do that, then you need to find the ship he's on so you can break in and get bloody psionic vengeance for him, the 2 captors already killed there, and who knows how many other people. You have to work as hard and as tirelessly to get him back as you possibly can. You have to live up to the thoughts Dave is probably having right now. Every hope that someone is looking for him. You hold your Moirail close and let him cry it out, softly whispering that you're going to find Dave. You let your mouth run with every idea that you have to check out to track him, so that Karkat can believe that you're going to find Dave. Karkat is a little muffled by your shirt and your chest. Since he's got his face so pressed up against you, it's hard to make him out. The word fault is pretty easy to catch, though. It's not your fault, you remind him again. Karkat pulls his head back and looks up at you with red-shot eyes, and when he speaks, his voice is raw. It's not yours either. Your fault? The concept of that is like a chasm in your mind. A jolt of the worst vertigo imaginable runs through you, and you scramble back away from it. You can't touch it. If you do, you can feel the mental chain of ideas that follows from that, and you can't. You can't. I couldn't have done anything. The pain from the door dream took me out. And Mindfang would have... But the dream meant that I wasn't there, you say in a rush, stumbling over every word near enough. It wasn't... Karkat tries. No, I know, because of the dream. And these dreams have to happen. It's like your future one. If I'd been there, then Mindfang would have got me, so that's... It happened then, so I wasn't, which means I couldn't... You jerk upright, toppling Karkat back onto his bed and off of your chest. It had to happen, which means we have to get him back, because it was supposed to happen that way, so we're supposed to get him back. Karkat is looking at you like you're breaking his heart. He's obviously already heartbroken enough from seeing Dave abducted. Somehow, you're making it worse. I'll do everything I can to get him back, you promise again. Karkat bites his bottom lip so hard that you think he might bite clean through it. He's looking at you like he's trying to add up how much of a danger you're going to be to yourself. It's a very specific look, but you've been on the receiving end of it so many times that you can pick it out easily enough. This isn't a bipolar thing, so he probably thinks that you're going to work until you pass out. Okay, all right, okay, Karkat says uselessly. You're not going to talk about what happens if Dave doesn't come back, right? Because I'm getting him back. Not today, but I'm doing it, you insist. Karkat sniffs, and his mouth wobbles a little before adding, in a tiny voice, making it happen? You choke on unexpected laughter, and Karkat smiles a little weakly, despite the fact that there's still the odd tear running down his face. If I could find a way to track Dave's psychic awareness of people referencing his shitty comic, then I'd find him in 5 minutes, you joke, but it's hard to hold on to the amusement. A mental image of just how bad of a situation Dave could be in tries to slither into your mind. It presents the idea that Dave is hurt, or being hurt badly enough that he can't even possibly contemplate his shitty webcomic. He could be in agony right now, and you're here making jokes. I should get back to... You start to say, but Karkat grabs your arm. Please don't leave me alone. I can't do this alone. Not in Dave's hive. Please, Karkat begs. You want to get back to looking for Dave. You need to. The idea of what could be happening right now compels you to. But you need to be smart about this. Your head still hurts. You're tired. Dave's family will still be in shock, and a lot of what you need requires them. Your Moirail needs you, and honestly, you're not exactly the world champion of looking after yourself, are you? You're going to need Karkat, and if that means that he keeps you here tonight, then that's not a bad thing. You can accomplish 2 things at once. Okay, you agree, your voice quiet. You get up and pull Karkat to his feet after you. From there, you cross your quiet hive together. The lights in the main room are off, but they flick on when the pair of you step into the room. With the room the way it is, you can't help but stare at it and see the echoes of your lives before the mission. On the lounge plank, you can see the stack of cushions that you'd rested your head on as you stayed out of the way so Dave could walk Karkat through packing his bag, only for Dave to then come out and point out what you had forgotten. There's a glass abandoned on the coffee table, and you don't know whose it was, but clearly you didn't have time to put it in the washer before you left. It feels like Dave's door could open at any moment, or the bathroom door could slide open to reveal Dave in a cloud of steam with only a concentration-ruining towel wrapped loosely around his waist. It's not going to happen, but it feels like he's still here. You shove the feeling down and drag Karkat into your room. No doubt he's thinking the same kind of things that you are right now. Karkat sits on your bed as you go to your wardrobe to get some pajamas. You can see him run his hand over your pillow like he's looking for something. Maybe he's looking for one of Dave's hairs or something. Perhaps looking for some proof that he was ever here. He's gonna be out of luck. You changed your sheets before you left for the mission, and no one slept in them since. The clothes you were wearing get dumped in your laundry basket in the corner, and you crouch down to grab your... Wait. You pull your sock drawer open and stare at it in confusion and irritation. "Look at this shit!" you hiss, moving aside so Karkat can see. "What?" Karkat says, looking back at you. You pull out a pair of black socks and hold them up like evidence in court. The top of the black pair is neatly tucked over, keeping the two black socks together. "Why are you showing me a pair of your socks? Why do you even pair them like that when you..." Karkat trails off as he realizes. You never wear matching socks, and you have very specific pairs that you go for. Black and white, purple and black, red and blue. The only time you wear matching socks is if it's obviously a pattern, like the bee-striped ones Kanaya gifted you a few years ago. These socks, all of your socks, are matched up like for like. "The laundry bots don't pair socks, they come in a bag. Dave did that. Dave..." Karkat giggles, a sound that turns into a new sniffling bout of tears. At some point, after you packed to go to quarantine, but before you left, Dave snuck in here unseen and speed-paired your socks all wrong, just so you'd be annoyed when you went to get some next. It's only annoying because you never wear them this way. It's a tiny detail about you that he's deliberately used to get to you. Fuck, he's so sweet. You hate him. "Now I've got to get him back so I can get him back for this," you say softly. You run your thumb over your soft black socks and then drop them back in the drawer. You're not going to lose him. You're going to find him. You have to. You grab the pajamas above the sock drawer and get changed into them. You should go and brush your teeth, wash your face, that kind of thing, but honestly, Karkat doesn't look like he has the energy for any of that. You take him back to his room and watch him get changed in a robotic and almost lifeless way. Then you pull him into his bed with you. Sleep will sharpen your mind. Buy the Strider triplets time to process so they can help you find Dave, and it'll help Karkat cope. Even if it doesn't feel like it, this is going to help you find Dave. Karkat, your best friend, your Moirail, your whatever this mixed up thing is, he clings to your side. His fingers dig in tight, like you could be ripped from his grasp any second, so he has to hold you that strongly to keep you here. When you turn the light off, all that's lighting up the dark room is the glow from your eyes and the few power lights on Karkat's husktop and various chargers. In a way, the darkness makes you more aware of what's going on around you. Karkat's breathing is shaky, as if he could resume crying at any second. You pet his hair and remember for a second how Dave did the same for you when... No, you're not thinking about it. "He must be so scared," Karkat whispers in the dark. "We're getting him back," you say. You've lost count of how many times you've said it. "It's not fair. After everything that he's been through, he shouldn't have to deal with this again. It's not fair," Karkat whimpers. You can feel your shirt getting damp from the tears leaking out of Karkat's eyes. "When we find him, we'll find them. Mindfang and Dave's mom both. They'll pay," you tell him. It's not certain that that's going to happen at all. Mindfang and Dr. Lalonde have Dave, but they'd both cut him loose as a diversion to save their own skin. If you had to make a choice between chasing a jettisoned life pod with Dave in it and chasing those two, then you'd pick Dave every time. They'd know that, so there's no certainty that you're going to get to bring them to justice. Karkat doesn't need to hear that, though.
And if you don't, he asks, then we get Dave back and they go free again.
You sigh. It's not ideal, but they've escaped so far.
No, what if...
Karkat shifts and pushes himself up onto his hands and knees to look you in the eyes.
What if we don't find Dave?
We're going to, you tell him. Karkat stares down at you. You can't see him all that well in this little light, but Karkat won't be able to see more of your face than your eyes in the area around them. The glare of your eyes pretty much drowns out anything else on your face in the dark. You bet Dave's eyes could still see you in this light.
I know you're going to do everything, but there's a chance you can't find him, or we find the ship and he's dead, killed trying to escape, or in one of her experiments. Solix, it's a huge universe, and we might not get him back,
Karkat tells you.
You hiss at Karkat and try to shove him away for even thinking that,
but he catches your hands and one-handed pins them both above your head. The only way you're going to be able to shift him is if you psionically force his hand open, and that would definitely hurt him. Hurt him badly enough to rip a tendon in his hand kind of hurt. As furious as you are for him saying something like that, you're not willing to maim him for it.
Solix, please, I need to deal with the very real chance that I might never see him again, and I can't do that if you're losing it. I know you're going to do everything to get him back. I'll do everything I can, but can you at least admit that we might not get him back?
Karkat asks pleadingly.
No, we have to get him back. We're getting him back. He has to come back, and I know he's going to.
You snap at him. Karkat gives you a wounded look in dim shades of red and blue. It almost reminds you of the blended colors in your tattoo. The tattoo that Dave did for you. There's a bubble of something rising in your chest, but you're not going to pay attention to it. You're not.
We all want him back, but why does he have to come back, Solix?
Karkat asks you slowly.
I have to find him.
You choke out. Karkat looks down at you. He shifts his weight so it's all going through the hand holding your wrist to the bed and touches your face with his free hand. He's not trying to shoosh-pap you or anything. He's trying to feel your expression out.
I have to, because if I don't...
You're approaching that precipice again, that endless black void you can feel at the edge of this idea. If you take one step into the possibility that Karkat is trying to bring up, then you'll fall in. That bubble of tension in your chest will burst open and everything will flood out. That can't happen, so you have to find Dave. You will find Dave. I'm finding him, you insist, shoving all of that far away and clinging to the certainty that you will find Dave. You just need to work out how. Karkat looks down at you for several long seconds before slumping down onto you. His grip on your wrists loosens, but he doesn't exactly let you go.
This is a fucking time bomb,
Karkat whispers into your shirt. You're not sure that he meant for you to hear him. He lets you go and sits up again on your hips and rubs at his face as he draws a shuddery breath in.
I need you, Solix. Dave is gone, and his funeral is going to happen. I blame myself for this, and I have to talk to his family. Even if you're right and you do get him back, this is still awful for all of us. Please don't abandon me and only look for Dave. I need you. I need you so I don't lose it, so I could be there for you too.
I'm going to find him. He's not dead, you tell him, and Karkat's hands fall from his face, showing you the anguished look on his face without obstruction.
You're my Moirel, Solix. I need you. Please, you can't just vanish on me like you do when you get manic, he begs.
I'm not manic, you argue, pushing yourself up on your elbows to glare at him.
I didn't say you were. I know you're not, but I'm not Gamzee's problem now. I'm yours. You wanted that, he reminds you.
Now that gets through to you. It soaks your skin like ice water and drips into your soul. Karkat knows you. He's not saying that you are manic, but you can get obsessive with things when you are. You need to find Dave because he has to be okay. Obviously, you have to put everything you can into finding him, but you can't let Karkat lose both of his partners at once. You're not a problem. I'm not going to vanish on you. I need to find Dave, but I'm not going to forget you. I need you too. I might need you to remind me to stop like you did today. You admit. Karkat nods, and when he speaks, his voice is shaky. Okay, so I will lose my mind if I don't deal with the idea that Dave might be dead or might not come back, and I think you'll lose it if you do think about that. It's not a question, not a request, but it's something. He's not wrong, though. You can't think about it because it's not happening, and if you let yourself think about it, well, you're not going to. That's all there is to it. You're a future person. You have to think about what might happen, even though it won't. I can do that, but I can do more. I'm still going to find him. You tell Karkat. Karkat closes his eyes and lays back down on your chest. He doesn't so much speak as he does whisper into your skin. Okay. You're going to humor that part of Karkat's think sponge that has to process the worst possible outcome, if only so it doesn't eat him alive. It seems like a lot of heartbreak to go through for something that won't and can't happen, but you have to do it. Besides, if you don't, then Dave will come back and have to try to help you pick up the pieces, and you doubt that he'll be in any state to do that. Dave is coming back. You're sure of that. It's an immutable fact, and no matter how much you're letting Karkat talk about his fears about that not being the case, it simply is. It has to be. There's no arguing. You hold Karkat close and run your fingers up and down his back. You let him cry into your shirt and eventually fall asleep. You sleep. If you dream, you don't remember it. You certainly don't get any more dreams that split your head open with a migraine and do things to lit doorways in some shared dream space. You wake up and feel pretty shitty. Karkat looks worse, so you make him eat. Hal has messaged you back.
We're supposed to be arranging his funeral.
Fuck that. Let's get him back instead.
Meet at Dirk's place in an hour.
I'm going to Dirk's place. Hal told me to meet him there. They might be able to help me get Dave back, you announce as Karkat comes out of the bathroom, his eyes red-rimmed like he was crying in the shower. Are you doing something stupid or illegal? Karkat asks. I'm willing to. You shrug. Let me put on clothes. Karkat sighs. He retreats into his room and comes out fully dressed a few minutes later. The train ride to Dirk's hive is pretty rough, and even if people don't know about your relationship, they know that you're all balancers. Dave being abducted is going to hurt you either way. It doesn't help that his face keeps showing up on the news that scrolls on the train screens. Missing presumed dead. The fuck he is! You're actually lucky that Karkat elected to go with you, because you don't know where Dirk lives. Karkat does, though. You assume it's through the same method where he knows everyone's birthdays, allergies, favorite colors, etc. You don't know how he does that. You really don't. The door opens not too long after you push the buzzer, revealing Hal. He looks like he hasn't slept all night, and his expression is hollow.
Hey, come on in.
Hal croaks, stepping aside to let you both in. How are you? Karkat asks him softly, with sympathy and empathy by the armful.
Really shit, but I don't think I'm doing the worst of everyone.
Hal says, his voice quiet, and his fingers touching the part of his shoulder that makes up the subtle join of his new arm to his body, synthetic skin and real. A last gift from Bro. You look past Hal and see Jake on the lounge plank. His leg is bandaged up and resting on a coffee table atop a pillow. Surprisingly, Dirk isn't next to him. Instead, you can just see him around the doorway to the area that's the closest thing the Atuan living areas have to kitchens. He hasn't come out to see any of you. He doesn't seem to have even noticed that you're here. Roxy's not coming? You ask in surprise.
Roxy's with Rose. Rose is...
Hal hesitates with a grimace. I remember what she was like before. It's fucked that we have experience of this already, Karkat says bitterly. Right. They all thought you were dead before, when Dave jumped the shuttle. See? He's not actually died once already. He's going to not actually die again and come back a second time. She's not talking at all, not doing anything. The girls are looking after her, Jake explains.
I got out of the shower at Dad's. I thought it'd clear my head a little before this, and my hair was different because it was wet, and...
Hal pauses. His hair is still damp. You watch him fuss with it a little, and it shifts into something like Dave's style. If you'd just seen him unexpectedly out of the corner of your eye, then maybe you could mistake them for a split second, only to then realize that Hal isn't Dave.
Rose broke down, so I left because I was pretty sure I was making it worse. Wrong brother and all. Roxy is trying to help. She said she'd be on Trolleyan if we need her.
Hal explains, and finger combs his hair back into the right place. Well, Dave can deal with her when we get him back, you tell him. Hal and Karkat share a look, and you don't like it at all. Have you heard from Coopram yet? Jake asks you before you can question that silent exchange. No, have you? You ask in surprise. He's been talking to the rest of us about what's going on in telemetry. His Moira works there. I think he said he was going to send you the technical stuff he'd been doing to try to find Dave. I thought maybe you two would have been talking, Jake explains. You fumble your palm husk out and look at Trolleyan, but there's nothing there. After a stupid second or two has passed, you think to check your email, and lo and behold, Coopram has sent you a whole list of what he's already screwed around with to run different checks to try to find Dave. Obviously he's not found him yet, or he'd have opened with that. It does mean that you're not going to waste time repeating his work. I was asleep, and yeah, he ends the email saying he's going to sleep now. We must have just missed each other. I guess I'll talk to him in 5 or 6 hours. This is good. You nod. Karkat and Hal are talking quietly to each other by the door, and you get the feeling that you're not going to enjoy that conversation. Instead, you go and see what Dirk's doing in the hope that it's going to be helpful in your mission to find Dave. Dirk is lingering by a little coffee machine, paying no attention to it, but instead staring at the screen of his palm husk. You open your mouth to ask him what he's doing over here, and then you catch sight of the screen. It's one of the videos from Dave's records, one of the experiments that Mom ran on him. You only catch a glimpse of little kid Dave's face, but it's enough that you know exactly what's happening. Why are you watching that? Dave didn't want people seeing that shit, you demand, not bothering to lower your voice.
Yeah, well, he's not here to stop me. Besides, that's exactly where he is now, isn't it?
Dirk retorts, shutting the video and shoving his palm husk in his pocket anyway. If Dave was here, he'd... You start.
He's not, but you,
Dirk is overcut by Hal.
Dirk! Solix is here to help us find Dave,
Hal says loudly and angrily. Dave's not here, but you what? But you're going to lecture him about this? No, that's not it. Dave isn't here, so you have to say something about it for him. If he was here, then you'd let him handle it. You're here, Dave isn't. You're not thinking about this.
We have to do the funeral, but I'm not giving up until we know he's dead. So what now?
Hal asks, and Jake motions for Dirk to sit on the lounge plank with him. Dirk goes, carefully stepping over Jake's injured leg. When he sits, he looks completely lost and hopeless. Finding the ship isn't working. I'm going to keep looking, but there's gotta be something else. Like when we used your bots to talk to each other with that stupid song. Is there anything of yours that we could find? Something Mindfang wouldn't know to hide? You ask, since someone needs to get this going.
Nothing springs to mind. I know he didn't have his palm husk. Jake?
Hal asks. She stripped his vest off of him with his weapons and tools, but I don't know what he might have had in his pockets or what his eyes can do. Jake shrugs.
He always was sticky-fingered with tools. He'd pick stuff up without thinking about it.
Dirk murmurs. Could he have anything on him, or on Mindfang's ship that could help? Karkat asks, before you can snap at Dirk for the past tense.
You guess he's talking about how Dave has been in the past, so it makes sense, but it sounds a hell of a lot like he's talking about someone who's dead. Dave is not dead. I was talking to Equius about this. My arm is similar. It has a certain amount of smart tech in it by itself to function. It interprets what my brain is telling it. Dave's eyes are the same, but he can store footage, which I can't do. Theoretically, he could maybe store a program, but I don't know if he had. Equius said he didn't have anything unexpected at the health check before he went to the planet. Hal answers you.
He could get into the ship's systems if it's not protected, and he got those eyes after you last saw your mother, right?
Jake asks.
Yeah, but
Karkat looks at Hal's new arm.
She obviously got some inside information since then.
Would Bro tell her about Dave's eyes? I know he was telling her about Dave's balancer stuff, about us, about me and Matuna and Psionic, but would he care enough to talk about Dave's eyes? If you're possessing tech to send a message, would Bro waste characters to talk about that? You wonder. Probably not, but Mom's smart. Dave's eyes don't exactly blend in. She'll figure it out. Dirk reminds you. The black and red isn't subtle, it's true.
Yeah, but that's still a window between him getting there and her knowing what he can do, where he could maybe do something.
Wait, what am I... Matuna, Psionic! You call out, and both of them appear, although obviously only Karkat reacts to that.
Could Dave's eyes interact with the ship's systems?
You ask them both immediately. Psionic pulls a face that doesn't fill you with a lot of hope, but Matuna looks a little more thoughtful.
Maybe he'd need to get to a terminal to do it and not get caught, but if I was in the helm, I'd know. Even if Dave got out of the place where prisoners are usually kept and tested, I'd have to tell about that kind of breakout. I'd lock anything down before he got to it, even though I wouldn't wanna.
Matuna breaks it to you.
Theoretically, let's say that Dave could escape like that and could get to a terminal before a helmsman unlocked it, or got to something else in the system first.
Karkat begins.
I guess if it was you and your viruses, then maybe you could infect something else and cause a problem. If you're trying to break instead of talk out, then maybe,
Matuna says slowly. Psionic is shaking his head, but you're going to ignore that. He can only understand Matuna's tone. He doesn't know how reasonable Matuna's idea is. He doesn't know what he's disagreeing with.
Matuna says Dave could maybe get to a console or some kind of tech and start breaking stuff through that kind of connection.
You translate. But he could do that once at best. Mom would know, and she'd make sure he'd never be able to do it again. Hal says quietly, and in a deeply unhappy tone.
But Dave would know that too. Jake, you've done all the training Dave has. What would you send if you could only get access to something like that once? What are you trained to do?
You ask Jake. Technically, you and Karkat have been through training too, but not all of it. Dave taught you the things you needed to know, how to use the equipment, how to survive, how to physically be up to the standard the job required. Getting stranded away from your ship wasn't high on the list of things anyone expected for you, and you have all of the learning materials on your tablet. You could look it up if you had to. Jake, on the other hand, has gone through all of that proper formal training. He'll know the answer.
You'd send a distress signal. In this case, he'd state his name and the ship he's from, and if he knows it, he'd give the name and position of the ship he's on. It's simple and to a set format. He'd repeat it a few times, and if possible, leave it repeating. If there was any other information, like environmental hazards or other people worth noting, like Mindfang, then he'd add that. We scan for that, though. Everyone does, all the time.
Jake explains. So, your mind whirs as you try to find any other angles to this. He didn't really have anything on him, nothing he could use to get out or get a message to us, except maybe his eyes, if he could get into the ship's systems, and even then, only once.
There's nothing we can do to make any of that happen. If Dave is able to do any of that, we're already doing everything we can to look for it, right?
Karkat asks, and Jake nods. Okay, well, I can keep screwing with the settings of the scans. I can talk to Kupram and his Moira when they wake up. You try to think of something more you can do. You were really hoping that the Striders would have more of an answers about this. Some kind of tech solution.
We can't do anything. It's happening and we don't know what's going on. We can't stop it, just like before,
Dirk says bitterly. As soon as Mindfang showed up, it was game over. Jake agrees. It's not over! You hiss at him. Dude, you've got it! Matuna touches your shoulder and you whirl around angrily to shout at him, but then it clicks. The Balancers, we felt it when they jumped. Someone has to have felt it when they got to wherever it was they were going, right? You ask, desperately. Natuna shrugs. Sai squints at you a little and then holds his hands out in front of him and moves them apart and closer together. There's a range on that? You don't understand me. Why am I asking you? Matuna mutters, and Psionic flips him off. Okay, so maybe there is a range on that, but that's a way Dave could reach out that your mom can't take away from him. You insist, looking at the others. You mean all the balancing that Dave can't do now, sensing that? I don't think she'd have to take that from him, Jake says slowly. Dave can sense stuff just fine, but he can't balance without Bro, Karkat adds. What about the dreams? You argue. He wasn't able to do that after Bro either. Remember, he just had that weird dream with Laika? Fuck, I wonder if the thing he could sense was Mindfang's ship. Karkat whispers that last part in horror. You don't know that. We don't know what else he can do. Fuck it, I'm gonna find AA. She can help. You snap and storm out.
Solix, wait.
Hal grabs you by the arm as you try to leave.
Send me what you had from the scans. We're still going to keep looking at that, so keep me on the same page, okay?
You nod, and Hal lets you go. You can't stay there, not with people who think that Dave can't be saved. You can't do it. You're going to find Dave, and you're going to get him back. That's the bottom line here, and the headline. And fuck everything if it isn't the entire text of the whole article. Solix, wait up! Karkat calls after you, hurrying behind you as you walk off. They don't think he's coming back! You seethe. Hal said they're still going to look. Karkat reminds you, grabbing your arm to slow you down to his pace. Hal's looking. Dirk clearly thinks he's never coming back, and I'm stupid for looking. I get why Tuna thinks it's not happening. It happened to him. You say angrily. You were too young to do anything at the time, but you hope like hell people put up more of a fight to find Matuna than this. Karkat's fingers tighten on your arm for a moment, and when he starts to speak, his words are slow. I think Jake is probably taking this hard. He's not as techie as the rest of you. Techie? You repeat incredulously. Shut up. He can't do anything about this. He can't look for Dave. He's physically hurt, too. He got shot and mind-controlled. He was there when it happened. I'm sure he blames himself, especially with Dirk and Hal there. Dave is their little brother, and he was supposed to protect him, but this still happened. It's not his fault at all. He couldn't do anything. Karkat goes on. Humans can't. The human who tried to save Matuna only got a few seconds of helping before he got knocked out and shot. Jake couldn't do anything. Neither could Lonk or Kunil, you say with a frown. Right, but I'm sure they feel guilty even though it's not their fault. He continues. I don't care. They're being sad about something that's not happening. I know Dave is coming back, you say to Karkat, who looks up at you with concern. You know? Karkat says back to you. Yes, I know. And it feels true, as you say it. He will. It's so certain that it's like he already has. He will come back. You know it. You just don't know how. Karkat doesn't say anything. Instead, he bites his claws anxiously and follows you along. You weren't dreaming of Dave last night, were you? You ask after a minute or so. Yeah, but it wasn't really him. It was just a nightmare. If I'd met the actual Dave in my stupid ice cream dream, I'd have yelled about it the second I woke up. Karkat answers you. That's pretty obvious, honestly. Is there any way of reaching Dave through your dreams? I don't know. Until all of this stuff with the door happened, we tried to avoid doing the whole dream thing. We all try to avoid it. It's pretty rude. Okay, but now we need to reach him, and I can't do it like you can. So, can we try? Or can other balancers on other ships try?
How far apart we are on the ship doesn't seem to matter, so maybe we can reach him. But then again, we couldn't help Gamzee and Fazar up on the ship when we were stuck on Somnos. These things have a range of some kind.
I don't know, AA. My dream thing reaches through time and all the way to where Earth was, so I think there's only so far we can science this shit. At some point, we have to admit that this is space magic.
We can try. We can try to arrange when we sleep, since we won't know when he's going to be asleep.
That makes sense. We can make a timetable for it. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. What about the sailors on Red Glare's ship? Has Dave ever been in their dreams?
I don't know.
We need to know! There was going to be more to that, but it's hard to type when Karkat has snatched your palm husk away from you.
You're being an asshole! She doesn't know how to fix this either!
Karkat barks at you before you can shout at him for stealing your palm husk. It's like no one else is even trying to get Dave back. But you know that if you say that, then Karkat's going to be hurt. You grit your teeth, wait a second, and then talk. Can you make them all help? I'm going back to telemetry to try to find Dave. I could follow Coopram's notes and work with Hal if he's going to help. You ask him, hoping that you're going to sound reasonable and not like an asshole this time. I can deal with people for you, but I can't make anyone do anything. Dave's family has a funeral to plan, and they're all dealing with Dave being taken from them. It doesn't matter how alive Dave is or isn't right now. That's a lot, Karkat reminds you. Like it's not a lot for us, too? Fine, we're not planning a stupid funeral that he doesn't need because he's not dead, but he got taken from us, too. We're dating him. We live with him. You snarl angrily. You were on Dave's mission crew before he got taken. You'd be invested if it had been Jake instead of Dave who was abducted. You like Jake. You were with him. You'd be trying to find him too. But this is Dave. He's your partner. He put your heart back together with care after your breakup with Aradia. He rearranged it into some shape between a heart and a spade. He got you and Karkat together. It means more to you and Karkat that it's Dave who's missing. And the only people who have acted like that are Nepeta and Hal. Dave wasn't super open about us yet. I should talk to Jade. Between her grandmother being handed over to Red Glare, Jake being shot, and now Dave... Or maybe she won't want to hear from me, I don't know. Karkat says unhappily. You can tell her I'm going to fix the last one at least. I should probably talk to her. Come on. You steer Karkat back towards the train station that you came from. I think you should let me talk to people, and you can do the space thing. Karkat corrects you, as if that wasn't what you asked him to do earlier. You take over the emergency line again, because finding Dave is an emergency, and also fuck everyone else. You're a balancer, and so are Dave and Karkat. Letting you get to telemetry quickly is the least the ship can do to thank all of you. Karkat's palm husk screen is a different color of Trollian text every time you look around. You're pretty sure that you've seen the whole hemospectrum and the bonus colors that the humans pick. You're not going to read over his shoulder, though. You've got to read everything that Coopram sent you and come up with your next move. That way, when you walk into telemetry, you're able to get started immediately. Aradia and Gamzee say they're going to try to the dream thing, and Aradia's got the balancers on Red Glare's ship to try as well. She's put a message on the shared balancer chat that's asking everyone to try to pick up anything from Dave. Karkat tells you, after you've already run 3 unsuccessful scans. And by that, I mean the conversation fleet-wide across all the balancers. Karkat adds. Good, that'll make it easier. You nod and start off your 4th scan. That hasn't identified Dave, it's just identifying metal debris around Skaya. God damn it.
Send me the code you wrote.
Which one?
The one where the machine is checking for you? The one that is the workaround for Mindfang's shit?
I'll link you the live version. I'm not checking for edits when I'm doing this. Red Glare's ship shares its scans with you. They've continued moving in a slightly different direction from your ship, so the perspective is shifting a little. That's good. It'll give you more angles to look from.
Hal tells you that your search software is shit and sends you back something that is admittedly much better. It's weird for you to be off your game like that, but you guess your focus is a little bit shot right now. You pass the code on to the other ships and ask for their scans with it, getting the software that can't be mind-controlled to look at it before anything else. Who knows if it's the Striders and Karkat's translator or this mind-control evading scanner, but it seems that the balancers of the fleet are more than willing to talk to you again. Maybe they all know Dave from years of working with him at range, and they want to help for his sake alone. You don't know or care so long as they help. The balancers from other ships ahead of you send their own scans over, and you start building up a 3D image of the section of the universe that you're in, shot from different angles over time. Follicle and Cuprum show up and help you model everything a little better. If nothing else, it's giving you a picture of where Dave can't possibly be. The former Empress's ship is fucking big, and disguised or not by Mindfang psionics or physical cover, it is still big. Space is mostly empty, and you're looking hard for this fucking ship. There's rules to this. Dave can't possibly be behind the boundary of the void itself. He has to be ahead of it. There's only so close a ship the size of that can be to a planet before it gets damaged. Only so close it can be to a star. But it needs things like that for cover to hide behind, so you know roughly where you're looking. Between the other balancers in the fleet, you have a vague projection of the boundaries of the encroaching void, though it's a little shaky as it's hard to measure the absence of everything like that. Aradia suggests that maybe if Mindfang was close enough to steer her ship to Skya, then she must have been reasonably close by to start with. If Bro was managing to communicate with Dr. Lalonde within a certain time span, then she had to be in a certain range, right?
What if we're looking in the wrong direction?
Cuprum says several hours later.
We're looking in every direction, stupid.
Follicle says flatly. You don't even bother adding to that or even looking up from your screen.
I mean time, not space.
Cuprum sneers.
Explain,
Aradia says. You look around at that. You didn't know she was still here. Karkat's still here too. You've not really spoken to anyone much at all, have you?
The whole reason shit went weird around Somnos is we were avoiding this mess with the void.
Cuprum starts.
Yeah, the Eversea was destroyed and there was a surge of unreality in our zone. I had to rerun my navigation. You're thinking it might be connected to how the ship moves or hides, or are you saying it's Mindfang instead?
Follicle says slowly.
It could be either, or both. Do we have historical scans from that far back from the other ships? It was, us, Eversea, Updraft, and Iron Chain, right?
Aradia says, with a thoughtful look on her face.
Right, I'm going to look. If I can find the ship, I can train our models better, and I can see what it does to space when she moves.
Cuprum grins maliciously. It's a good idea, a really good one, but you're not looking for Dave in the past. You'll leave that to Cuprum, knowing that it could be useful, and instead keep looking for Dave in the present.
There you are,
Cuprum hisses gleefully, making you practically hurl yourself over the console to get to him.
This is 2 weeks before the Eversea was lost, right there. It still looks like the old Empress's ship, mostly anyway.
Cuprum hisses gleefully, tapping his screen on a staticky image of the ship. What happens after that? You ask in a terrified whisper. Cuprum commands the central projection screen and starts throwing images up, from the Eversea itself, but also from Iron Chain's long-range scans. The former Empress's ship dips close to the Eversea in one, and then in the next, the void is obscuring the Iron Chain's sensors. No more Eversea, and no more shots of the ship.
Marathon was talking about pirate activity. Do any of the ships look like hers?
Aradia asks, scrolling back through the balancer chat to look through it all.
All of the ships were identified back then. If she could convince you that her ship was the Empress's ship...
Follicle starts, her face turned towards Cuprum.
She could do the same with a regular pirate ship.
Aradia finishes for her.
They skirt close enough to the void that it's hard to say, but...
Someone else across the room says,
A human goes over and has a look at the screen, and after a minute identifies Mindfang's ship in amongst the pirate ships. So they're skirting the void, picking ships off that get too close and probably studying them in the process. So who's closest to the void near us now? Aradia asks.
Violent Strike and the Kobayashi Maru are on either side of our position, but Violent Strike lost some distance by detouring to Skaya and have moved out laterally again. They're both ahead of us. Iron Chain is ahead of us, but we have not heard from them yet.
Polypa answers from across the room. You head back to look at your map, showing the scans through time in three-dimensional space. You don't have anything current from the Iron Chain either. All you have is historical data from that ship that gets traded at every data exchange. The edge of the void doesn't look anywhere near them, but they are over in another solar system, one with a lot of gas giants that could provide decent cover. Why didn't the Iron Chain come to Skaya? You wonder. They'd just built a ship 10 months ago and set it off. They had no resources spare to build another, and they were still replenishing themselves from their previous build, Aradia explains. Dave could be there, you tell her, staring at the static planets and wondering if Dave is tucked away in the static and celestial noise of their bodies. Is the Iron Chain going to come back with automatically scanned shots showing the last Empress's ship? Even if you can't get there, surely someone on the Iron Chain could set up a rescue party made up of people resistant to Mindfang's shit. They wouldn't expect that, would they? You could get Dave out of there, talk to him long distance when he's rescued, and then catch up with him as soon as your ship comes in range of theirs. It won't be today, but you'll get him back. You will bring Dave back here. You know it. Aradia tries to talk to you at one point, but beyond you reassuring her that you will bring Dave back and that you know he's alive, you're not really interested in talking. About the funeral, Solix, Aradia says gently. He's not dead, it's stupid. You sigh, running another scan over Iron Chain's solar system. You still have to go, and you still have to sing. Karkat at least has the sense not to ask you to say anything, Aradia says, shaking her head. You'd go up there and say that a funeral is a waste of time for a guy who isn't dead, that your time would be better spent up here looking for him. I'm serious about the song, though. You have to sing Bones in the Ocean. We always do. Dave always has. It's a sign of respect, and it's tradition. He'd be upset that you wouldn't sing it at his funeral, Aradia warns you. Fine, you say bitterly. You think it's stupid, but if it'd be important to Dave, then you'll do it. A question bubbles to the surface of your mind. You don't want to ask it, but now that it's risen up, you don't know if you have any choice. Looking away from the screen, you take in Aradia's appearance. She seems tired, bruised red dark circles under her eyes, either from crying or not sleeping. Her hair's kind of wild, but it always was, at least a little. She seems sad, sure, but in a muted kind of way. Aradia always dealt with bad things well. When Father died, she seemed sad, but she wasn't this bad. Dave had clearly been upset, but he'd expected it to a degree. Besides, he had been wrapped up in his own grief for a lot of that trip, as had you. Do you think he's dead? You ask her, unable to hold the question back. Aradia's gaze falls a little, and she sighs. I don't know. I'm accepting that he's dead. Everyone dies eventually, and with us, it's a hazard of the job. And if I think of it this way, then if you do find him and he's rescued, then it's a nice surprise. A nice surprise that everyone gave up on him? You challenge her. Does this look like a room full of people not trying to find him and have given up? Aradia asks, waving her hand around. They're hoping he's alive. I know he is, you tell Aradia without any doubt in your tone. I don't really have time to cling to hoping for that. I've still got Jade to think about, and I still have to balance. Or did you forget that we still have to do that? We're here to see if you two are able to cover for us at all, Aradia says and points behind you. The word we implies, yeah, that's Gamzee talking to Karkat there. Gamzee has Tavros at his side, and Tav looks pretty nervous, which isn't unusual exactly, but it's making you wonder what you missed. Your console beeps, and in an act of trained response, you look around at it right away. It's just the planets and the iron chain still, nothing new. Wait, when was the previous scan from? The one you were looking at before? Aradia asks you. About 3 minutes, maybe? Why? What's going on with them? You ask, looking back at the others. Karkat's out of his seat now, and he looks pissed as fuck. Gamzee's eyes flick to you, and he seems surprised that you're looking at him at all. Almost ashamed? Tavros smacks his arm sharply and scowls up at him, hissing something. No, fucking say it if you're going to! Karkat snarls. Say what?
I didn't... Sorry.
Gamzee sighs.
Oh, no, you were going to throw it in my face, so go on! If you're going to ask if this is everything I hoped for, then spit it out!
Karkat snaps. Gamzee doesn't say anything, but his expression is hard. Aradia nudges you slightly and taps at your keyboard a little. You lean aside for her and look back at Karkat. What's going on? You ask. Karkat looks around at you, his expression angry, although that melts when he sees you. It's nothing important. If you're with us again, can I convince you to eat something this time? He sighs. You remember Karkat putting food in front of you earlier. You think you ate, didn't you? You open your mouth to agree, since Karkat seems stressed, and you promised you wouldn't ditch him for this. Gamzee, come here, Aradia calls out before you can say anything. Gamzee shifts into some kind of professional sailor mode and quickly strides towards you and to Aradia's side. She has one finger on your screen, a red painted claw tip resting right on the iron chain on the screen. 4 minutes ago. She clicks and the picture shifts to show the iron chain slightly ahead. Just now. The math off the top of my head says that's max speed, but Follicle is just checking it now.
Why are they burning it like that for? You don't go max without a reason. For full max, you're taking out non-essential shit and routing it to engines.
Gamzee says in a low voice. Like when we were outrunning the void near Somnos? You ask.
It's their max speed. They weren't doing that earlier.
Follicle interrupts. I don't see ships, so it must be the void. We just can't fully place it from here. Solix, can you run this again? Aradia asks you. You nudge her aside and set up the same scan and fire it off again. It's hard to detect the void, to see the absence of things. You have to infer it from what it does to other things. Could this be because of the jump that the ship made? Like a ripple from them landing? Karkat asks.
We didn't do that,
Gamzee says. It's not a no, because there's not enough evidence for that, but it's not a yes either. It'd be a good place to hide. If you could convince the iron chain you weren't there, or convince them to run away from you, you point out. It is a dead spot on your map. The scan pings back, and you send another off before starting to look at the picture again. The iron chain is really moving now, but you can't see... Look, there was an asteroid belt. There's a gap in it now, Aradia points out. It's not uncommon for solar systems to have little stripes of planetary rubble between larger planetary bodies, bits of celestial debris that got caught in the middle between two bigger forming planets. Tugged equally by both, that they stayed put and formed a spaced-out disk of rock and ice. At the far edges of a solar system, this is also common. Little chunks of things that didn't get flung out with the spin of the solar system. A disk of leftovers. This isn't a disk now, this is a U-shape, like something took a big bite out of it.
It's the void. That's why they're running. That's why they're not answering us yet. It's not a priority yet,
Gamzee concludes. Are they going to get away? Karkat asks in a small voice. The void doesn't always travel at a constant speed. It seems to have a minimum, and it keeps to an average pretty often, but it does speed up, so it's probably hard to say. If the iron chain just slammed down on the accelerator, then the void must have only just suddenly started to speed towards them, right? Your next scan comes in. You fire off another. All of you sit in horror,
as you watch the void rush towards the ship from the far edge of the solar system, the rubble of the asteroid belt vanishing into nothing. What's worse is how you see it peel the layers of a gas planet off like the skin from an orange. You get 2 frames of that from one scan, and when the next one comes in, it's gone entirely. People in the room are calculating the speed of the void's approach. So far, the iron chain is outstripping it, but the distance is not a comfortable one just yet. Everyone's eyes are on the next gas giant, a red, swirling body whose giant mass was a large blot on your map of places Dave could be. It's been a little over 7 minutes since Aradia caught this on your scan, and it's got this far. It'll be just about 8 when your next one comes in. The speed of the void is incredible and horrifying all at once. Your 8th scan comes in, and the red gas giant is just gone. No fanfare. It was there, and now it isn't. Next it'll be that little rocky planet. At least the iron chain has put a bigger gap between it and the void. They should be okay if they keep that speed. It'll probably be the kind of fucked up unreality shit that you were dealing with before, but you hope they'll be fine once they get some more distance. The 9th scan comes back, and to your surprise, the smaller planet is still there. The 10th scan shows it too. When the 11th comes up, it's gone, but that means that the void has slowed down again. Why has it done that? Confusion is the prevailing emotion in the room, as the void almost sluggishly picks apart the solar system, one that the iron chain is now out of. Could they be balancing to push it back, like you did when we were at Somnos? Karkat asked Gamzee in the quiet of the telemetry room.
Running motif balancing could slow it, but that's more than the balancers on the iron chain can do. They've not got as many now,
Gamzee says, shaking his head.
Something else is happening here. Could one of those planets have been inhabited by intelligent life, and we didn't know about it?
Aradia wonders. That sparks up some debate, but the consensus is that it's very unlikely, and if there was intelligent life, it'd be so primitive or different from yours that it might not make any difference to the void. What you're interested in is how the void appears to be getting slower with each scan you get back. It's sped up out of nowhere, and now it's hanging back. Why? Gamzee's palm husk pings at the same time that Aradia's and Karkat's do. On the far edge of your console, your one buzzes.
It's Ark, from the Iron Chain. They ran Solix's machine scan and kept scanning when they were running. They're sending the files.
Aradia says slowly. You elbow her aside and grab the files. It takes the ship's software a few moments to parse what it's getting and arrange it in a way through space and time that you can see in a sensible way. The former Empress's ship appears in your view, and the large tag to the side of it tells you that it is not Feferi's ship, before any mind control can take place. You found it! You found him! The iron chain was on the other side of the solar system to you, and you can see the ship against the backdrop of the red gas giant, hiding from your scans behind its bulk.
Ark says they're sorry.
Aradia breathes. The image clicks through. They were close enough to get multiple scans a minute, so you watch in a stop-motion disaster movie as the solar system vanishes bit by bit. Asteroid belt, the outer gas giant getting stripped bare from the sheer gravity of the void before blinking out like it was never there. The ship isn't moving. They have to jump or something. They have to.
God, no.
Karkat chokes. The red gas giant blips out of existence, and then it's the ship against the infinite dark. It clicks on, and the ship is wrenched open, so torn apart that the program that Dave's siblings made doesn't even parse it as the same ship to warn you. You can see the inside of the bulkhead. In the next image, there's no ship at all.
It was a motif,
Gamzee whispers. Dave knew his, right? You ask in a rush, looking up at Gamzee. He's staring at the screen, with purple tear tracks down his cheeks.
Yeah, he knew it,
Gamzee croaks. So he got away, in half the ship or something, but these things seal off in sections. There's emergency functions. He won't be able to fly it, but he got away, you say in a rush. He's dead, Solix! Karkat shouts at you. No, KK, don't say that. I know he got away. You try to reassure Karkat, but
He just puts his face in his hands and sobs.
No more mind fang or mad scientist anymore. Good for you, man. Good for you.
Gamzee says gently, almost to himself. Fuck, I need to go tell Jade. Aradia sniffs. Don't tell her he's dead. He's not, you say as you try to stop her. Solix, you have no proof that he's alive and every proof that he's dead. If you keep insisting he's alive, it's going to be awful when you finally... He's dead, Bumblebee. I'm sorry. Aradia tells you so gently that it hurts more than a knife between your ribs would. She only used to call you that kind of pet name when you were really fucked up, and usually fucked up about losing Matuna. This isn't the same situation, though. It's not. I know he's alive, you say again. If anything, she looks sadder. I know he is, you add as she leaves. You try to hold Karkat. He lets you at least, but it doesn't seem to help much. You don't get why no one believes you. Just because you don't know for sure that Dave got out of there by jumping the part of the ship he was in through space doesn't mean he didn't. Just because you don't have proof doesn't mean it didn't happen. He got away somehow. You're certain. You've never been more certain of anything. It really says something when you're looking up at Gamzee in the hopes that he'll believe you. Gamzee seems relieved, if anything, but the look he gives you is pitying in the least romantic way possible, like he's watching a stupid animal run into a window repeatedly.
You should take him back home,
Gamzee suggests, looking at Karkat. You're tempted to tell Gamzee to get fucked. He can't tell you what to do with Karkat. Karkat is your Moirel now, not his, but on the other hand, Karkat clearly believes that Dave is dead and is understandably devastated. You'd rather take him home and let him deal with that there instead of here in public. You don't have a reason to be here right now. You're going to need to rewrite the machine's scans to pick up what it's going to think of as a wrecked ship, and you can do that from your hive.
I'll talk to the sailors. Haradi's got Jade. Nepeta can deal with his family,
Gamzee adds, making it sound more like a division of labor and not him backseat Moiraling. He's not dead, you tell Gamzee again, as Karkat sinks his claws into your shirt and shudders with silent tears. I think that we're all clear where we stand on that, and it's all right if we disagree. Arguing about it here won't help anything, though, right? Tavros pipes up, getting between you and Gamzee.
You still have to go to the funeral. I'm picking you both up tomorrow. Dress formal,
Gamzee tells you. It's not a request. The temptation to scream at Gamzee is right there. He's wrong. He's lying about Dave being dead. It is a lie, even if he thinks it's true, but you can see that Tavros is right. You're not going to convince anyone that Dave is alive. You saw the same thing as them, and you know what it looks like. You don't have the missing frame that could have been captured, the one showing the part of the ship that Dave is in, jumping off to safety. Screaming at them about how they're wrong, how they're abandoning Dave when he needs rescuing. That's not going to help. It'll make you look crazy, and it'll upset Karkat even more than he already is. Gamzee stands the same chance of convincing you as you do of convincing him. Absolutely none. You have nothing to gain here, and a lot to lose. As you turn to lead Karkat out of the room, you realize that Matuna has been here the whole time. Psionic, too. Both of them are staring up at the screen showing where the ship was. The ship that they were both enslaved in and died inside. You get the feeling that you're not going to convince either of them right now, either. You're better off leaving. Karkat is crying too much to see where he's going properly, so you end up picking him up with your psionics and carrying him to the train. Even though you're supporting Karkat's weight with your psionics, you're still holding him in your arms, so when you set him on his feet in the emergency train carriage, he keeps holding on to you. He must have been so scared, Karkat whimpers against your shoulder. Dave's not dead, but you can talk around that. I bet feeling the void get that close and being stuck on that ship, yeah. But he's cool under pressure, so it probably wasn't as bad as it would have been for either of us, you suggest. Yeah, I guess I guess that's better than being paralyzed by terror. Dave is pretty cool in a crisis.
Karkat sniffs. It's the only time he's cool, you add after a moment, making Karkat sob and laugh at the same time.
When you get home, you and Karkat manage to find a middle ground that you can agree on. You're willing to talk about what being on the ship must have been like, right up until the point where you know he got away and Karkat thinks Dave died. You're willing to talk about how much you're going to miss him. Karkat thinks he'll miss Dave forever. You know that you'll miss him until he's rescued and then returned to this ship. You can go over the feeling, but not how permanent it is.
It's so weird without him here,
Karkat says quietly. He's got you sprawled across his lap as he digs his fingers into your back, because Karkat's the kind of person who needs his hands occupied when he's stressed, or he'll pick his clothes apart or bite his claws. Also, he's got that pathological need to help people, so it's better for him to work the tension out of your back than do any of that.
Every time I come into a room in here, I expect him to be there, brushing his teeth or watching TV. Normal stuff,
you admit.
Right? We know he's not here, but the rest of my think sponge hasn't caught up to it, and then you realize it all over again.
Karkat says, and digs his thumb between your ribs. The physical pain of that isn't a million miles from what Karkat's describing emotionally. A sharp twinge in your chest that won't kill you, but hurts all the same. It was like that with Matuna. You grunt, and then relax as the muscle that Karkat is jabbing untenses under the pressure. It's about 3 months of it happening almost every time, then less. After a year, it doesn't happen so much, but then you get all the this time last year, or holidays, or... You won't have to deal with that, because you'll get Dave back before then. If anything, you'll have the weird inverse thing that you've had with Matuna since you got him back. The realization that you can see or hear a cool thing and actually tell him about it. You've had to relearn that instinct that you painfully dropped years ago. It'll be like that with Dave. The similarity of all this is awful for you. I'm sorry. Karkat apologizes, like it's his fault. You bite back the urge to point out how it's not the same, because Dave isn't dead.
It's so selfish, but I'm so grateful that you weren't there too. I wish no one had been there, but...
Karkat whispers. It could have been all of us. You agree, and Karkat's hands go still. You think he's going to say something, but instead he makes a sound like he's trying to tell you that he's listening, but not wanting to interrupt. You hadn't been going anywhere with that sentence, but you could try to continue it, and so you keep talking.
Well, the Carapacians are immune. If they hadn't kept her away, then she probably would have taken everyone just because she could. I should thank them, actually.
They brought the others back, too. They didn't have to do that. They can't have understood what was going on very well, and it would have been perfectly understandable for them to have bailed and left everyone, but they didn't. We should thank them.
Karkat agrees.
Right, and she was there for me. If I hadn't had that dream when I did, I'd have been there too.
You go on, and Karkat is holding his breath as you talk. I'd rather die than go through what Matuna did, but I don't even think I could have helped if I'd been there. She can control me. She'd have used me against Dave and helmed me. I wasn't going to be any help.
And that's not your fault,
Karkat reminds you.
I know.
At least, on his own, Dave can just look out for himself. His mother can't use people against him like she did with his siblings. You add miserably.
Fuck that bitch,
he snarls. I hope she wasn't in the bit of the ship that Dave was in. I hope it hurt before the void got her. You say maliciously. You certainly hope she's not alive in whatever part of the ship Dave escaped in.
It wouldn't even be a fraction of what she and Mindfang had coming, but yeah, I hope so too.
Karkat agrees coldly. You eat food, and it's weird that Dave isn't here. Karkat goes to shower, and you open Dave's room, but he's not there for you to bug him. You spend a couple of minutes pairing his socks up wrongly out of revenge, knowing that it only makes sense for you to do that if he's coming back. If Dave was dead, this would be a weird thing to do, but he's not, so it's not. The socks are almost proof, right? Karkat cries a lot, and you comfort him as much as you can. You can't pull Dave out of thin air for him, so there's only so much better you can make this, but you do what you can. He doesn't even have to ask you to sleep with him tonight. You're not ready to be by yourself, and he isn't either. Maybe I'll have the last dream tonight and I can figure something out. They can't have been a countdown to Dave getting taken. That was the 9th one. The 10th has to tell me something, right? You whisper to him in the dark. You don't remember anything when you wake up, though, Karkat points out. But it'd be the 10th time. It could be different. Or you could try to follow me like you did before. You suggest, hopefully. If you can't remember things, then at least Karkat can do that for you. I don't see how a guy who's been dead for so long can help anything. I mean, okay, besides our ghosts, how would he even help? Karkat questions you in an entirely reasonable line of thought that you nonetheless hate. You don't really have an answer for that either. You fall asleep quickly and sleep dreamlessly the whole night. You don't awake to any splitting migraines, and there are no messages burnt into Karkat's wall. He's probably thankful for that, but you're not. But who are you to assume? I didn't leave myself a message, and I don't have a migraine, you tell Karkat, who's currently pulling his formal sailor outfit out of his wardrobe. You don't need to go for ages, but you figure he's just checking that it's fine to wear. The last thing we need is another fire, Karkat says despairingly. I think me and Hal are on some kind of list with the fire department, you say unhappily. It's not like any of that was your fault. You should be on some kind of list, Karkat mutters. I still wish I'd had a dream. I've not got any songs stuck in my head either. Why can't I have one of these dreams when I want to? You ask, as if Karkat would have any answer. Why are you so fixated on this? Seriously? Are you just reaching for things that only you can do in the hope that it's somehow the answer, or do you have an actual goal here? Karkat demands, spinning around to glare at you. His expression falters instantly, the irritation merging into guilt and self-recrimination. I didn't mean that, Karkat says, and you squint at him disbelievingly. I didn't mean it to sound like that. I don't understand why you're fixed on it, that's all. But it's 9 out of 10 lights. It's a countdown, you point out. For a different Dave Strider, sure. He's in the past. Anything he could do, he's already done. Also, if the 10th had been the dream that you had on the planet, then that would have been a suspicious matchup, but it wasn't. You didn't have one last night that would line up with with what we saw yesterday. I don't see the connection or what you're hoping for. Karkat corrects himself midstream there. You elect to ignore it. It feels significant, you tell him. Karkat is biting at his claws anxiously, watching you with a look of concern and pity. Clearly he thinks you've lost it, but he just can't see how it's significant. You know it is, but you're struggling to explain how. We have 9 lights. They obviously do something with that door. That's clearly something. We had ghosts from the past show up because of it. Past Dave could do that. You don't know. You argue. Okay, fair. Let's say that he does, even though he was missing from that family lineup before. They showed up to kill a ghost, and they didn't need the full 10 lights to do that. Do you think he's going to show up here and fight a ghost? How would that help? Karkat challenges you. That's not what I was thinking he'd do. When I dream, I remember what's happening now, right? You said that I was talking to him like I remembered the present, so I could tell him about our Dave. You suggest. It sounds wrong, even as you say it. Then what? He's a middle-aged Mexican man on Earth, and I don't remember you saying he was an astronaut. We're so many light years from there. It's not like he can swing by and grab Dave, and he's also dead from the Earth being eaten. At best, his ghost could go find Dave, but even then, what would he do? Karkat asks. He could... You don't know. You can't say. Solix, we don't even have the 9th coin. And those ghosts showed up, they left Dave out, remember? Don't get me wrong, the thing with the lights and the door are messed up as fuck, but I don't think they're connected. I think you're trying to grab at this to give yourself hope. It hurts to see you like this, Solix. Karkat says that last part so gently as he sits down next to you on the bed. I know how I sound, but I know he's alive, and I feel so sure that this is connected, you say to him. Karkat bites at his claws again, so you pull his hand away from his mouth before he can do any more damage to his fingers. You're going to make yourself bleed, you warn him. Listen, I want you to be right. I want Dave to be alive and for something to save this whole thing, but I can't believe that because it'll destroy me trying to keep that up, and when it crumbles apart, it'll ruin me. I can't. I'm terrified that at some point the same thing is going to happen to you when you... Karkat begins. Don't. You interrupt him. Karkat's shoulders slump, and he covers his face with his hands. The two of you sit in a deeply unhappy and uncomfortable silence. This is going to be fucking awful. I clearly can't stop that. Of course I can't. Can we just get everything ready for Dave's funeral and eat before we put our formal and all-white uniform on? I'm not showing up with stains on it. Can you get yours out for me? Karkat asks, switching to practicalities instead of what you had been talking about. That's probably better. You don't want to argue with him about this. You go find your stupid formal outfit to prove that you've not done anything dumb with it since last you saw it. It is obviously fine. You look at it on your bed, and then think about how Dave's must be hanging up in his wardrobe too. If he was dead and they had his body, then they'd probably bury him in that. As it is, they're with the only bit of Dave's body that exists on the ship. His eyes. You're not going to message his dad and ask if they want to have his eyes to launch into space instead. It's probably not a tactful question to ask. Besides which, Dave isn't dead, and you think he'll be upset if he comes back to find that you tossed his eyeballs into space when he went to all the effort of keeping them this long. The two of you eat, and then Karkat bullies you into looking presentable for a funeral for a guy who isn't even dead. You dress slowly and irritably. You're only going to this thing for Karkat, and because Aradia said that Dave would be hurt if he found out that you ditched his funeral, whether he was dead or not. You're not looking forward to small talk with people who think your partner is dead and will look at you like you've lost it if you say he's not. The doorbell goes, and you can hear what you can best describe as panicked gargling from the bathroom. Evidently, Karkat is too busy with mouthwash to answer the door. You psionically flick the button and open the door. Gamzee is on the other side. Give us a minute, you tell him.
I'm calling Nepeta to tell her that I'm here and picking you up,
Gamzee says, like he thinks you're going to make a break for it, but Nepeta knowing will somehow deter you. Knock yourself out, you tell him, and shut the door in his face. There's a sound of incredibly careful spitting from the bathroom. Since Karkat's already in his fancy suit, he doesn't want mouthwash on it. White is such a stupid design choice. Was that Gamzee? He calls. You reject any number of sarcastic or otherwise pissy responses and instead say, yeah, it was. Okay, we need to go, Karkat says, emerging from the bathroom. You've only got one boot on at the moment. Looking down, it's one boot and one white sock. The other one is black, since you paired them properly. Not like how Dave paired them up to annoy you. The white sock seems to accuse you somehow, and the very tiny part of your mind that fears that maybe Dave is... I need to change, you whisper. What? No, you have to wear... Karkat starts. I'm going to change. I'll be right there, you tell him firmly, and rush to your room, shutting yourself inside. You pull your sock off and put a black one on instead. Then you hastily lace your boots up. Now Dave has to... Now you can tell him you wore your socks wrong to his funeral, because he's coming back. Solix, get back here! Karkat's voice makes you jump. Fuck, you're making him wait. Him and stupid fucking Gamzee. Ugh. You stomp out of your room and out the front door. I said I was coming, you tell him sulkily. What? Karkat says, sounding lost as he stares at his hands. You feel a little guilty at that, so instead of arguing more, you merely mutter, You were the one yelling. Yeah, because you were... Karkat looks at you and stops talking. Great. He thinks that Dave is dead and you're going to his funeral. You're being a huge pain about this, and it's not his fault. You're supposed to support him. Sorry, I know we can't be... You start, only to falter when your attempts to push your glasses up end up with you dragging your finger over the lens and smearing the shit out of them. Fantastic, just what I needed. You bitch quietly as you pull your glasses off and clean them on your sleeve as best you can. Gamzee is telling Nepeta that he's got you too, like you really need that much supervision. You hate this. You hate all of this. Your eyes, they're all black and white, Karkat whispers. Black and... Oh. You stare at Karkat in disbelief. The last vision he had featured you with your eyes black and white. It's a clear and blatant sign of you being both a future and a past balancer. The versions of you that he dreamed before were color-coded too. Which means that it's not you who was due a prophetic magical dream. It's Karkat. Gamzee, hang up! Karkat's having the dream! It's now! You say eagerly. Gamzee whirls around to stare at Karkat, and then, to his credit, he says, I'm gonna have to call you back, Nep. Karkat's dream is happening. Yeah, now. Yeah, okay. I'm dreaming. You're awake. You two know what's happening, and I don't, Karkat says slowly. We know what you know from waking up. You didn't know when this was, Gamzee confirms. He didn't know that this was Dave's funeral, and you really don't think that breaking that to him is smart for whatever passes for causality or indeed for your soul. You can't crush Karkat like that. Which means we can't tell him, you say, looking at Gamzee and feeling relief when the look in his eye tells you that he's thinking the same thing. We're all dressed for sailor stuff, so... Karkat says slowly as he looks at his hands. He's not been able to stop biting since everything went wrong. Mentally, you're going at 100 miles an hour, trying to figure out what the purpose of this dream is. Karkat told you about it, but you can't see how it'd help. It has to help. It has to mean that Dave isn't dead. He didn't know shit, so why now? The point of this dream isn't giving him information because he barely learns anything, you say to Gamzee, trying to think aloud to work this out. We're assuming there's a point at all. We don't know if there's a reason for this shit, Gamzee says bitterly. People telling you that shit happens for a reason sucks. Fuck that, you agree. That's one thing that you and he see eye to eye on. There's no reason for anything that happened to either of you or to Dave. Shit just sucks. Prophetic dreams are a different thing, so what is the point of this? Figure it out, genius! Why now? Why this moment? What are we supposed to do from this prompt? You ask, trying to get back onto it. If Karkat doesn't learn anything from this dream, then surely it's more for you and Gamzee in this moment. There's nothing to do. We're in the hall outside of your hive. It's just... Gamzee says wearily, waving a hand at the empty hallway. So maybe we're not meant to be here. This started with me in there, you say thoughtfully, gesturing to your hive. Karkat is completely lost in this conversation, but he's clearly trying to help. Did you forget something in there? Or did I forget something? Did Dave? You're lucky that Karkat was looking at you when he said that, because the look on Gamzee's face would have given it all away. But still, did Dave forget something? That's a question. What would be in there that Dave would need? Or better yet, what is he missing? How was this dream supposed to end? Didn't he say Beck was there? Dave was still going on about Laika when Karkat woke up and told us about this, wasn't he? Gamzee asks, though he's probably eager for this to stop. Did Dave forget something? What's he miss? You can't finish because Karkat screams over you. What the fuck? Karkat screeches, clinging to the far wall and almost crouching. Don't you feel that? Karkat demands, and then stares at the ceiling in horror. He's experiencing the whatever it is outside trying to get in, but you're not, so what's it trying to show you? No, that's not right. Karkat asked what Dave forgot. What is he missing? What do you have or could you get that Dave doesn't have? Think! The door! It's trying to get through the door! Karkat chokes out. The door! The door! You've got 9 lights, but only 8 coins. Dave didn't get one. You have it, and he doesn't. The door! That's it! Oh, I'm so fucking stupid! You shout as it finally clicks. You sprint inside. Karkat's screaming at you not to go, but you're not listening. Your coin came from your eyes. Everyone's did. But Dave didn't get one. You burst inside his room and rip his wardrobe open, pulling out the jar with Dave's preserved eyes. Holding it up to your face, you jiggle it, swirling the 2 eyes around in the solution inside. Red and white, and there! One of Dave's eyes has a glint of gold in it. Oh, you really hope you don't have to put your hand in there. Instead, you touch your finger to the glass and try to think about pulling the coin free. The coin materializes over Dave's eye as you touch the glass and then topples into your waiting fingers. 9 coins. Hell fucking yes! You rush back outside to see Gamzee holding Karkat, who is clutching his head and staring down the hallway at Beck. 9 coins, bitches! The 9th was in Dave's jar of eyes. Tell me the door doesn't mean anything now! You say triumphantly.
Tell me you didn't stick your hand in that thing,
Gamzee says with a grimace. Thankfully, I didn't have to. I got it out through the glass. You tell him. Great. Ugh, my head. I really swear I saw Laika and not Beck, Karkat says with a wince. At that, all of you look down the hallway at Beck, at the very large and intelligent dog staring right at all of you. Did you bring Beck with you? You ask warily as he trots closer to you.
No, I didn't bring Jaden either, Gamzee answers.
Beck stops before you and then gets up on his back paws, resting his front paws on your hip and stomach. He shoves his face in your technically empty hand and stares unblinkingly into your eyes. There's something about how deep and dark those eyes are. Your almost trance-like state is broken when Beck barks and moves. He stands there as if to lead you away down the hall and is simply waiting for you to all follow along. Is everyone else freaked out by the dog? Karkat whispers. You and Gamzee both nod. The 3 of you start to walk, with Beck leading you. He leads you to the elevator, which makes sense, but then he continues to lead the 3 of you. He doesn't look back or take direction. Nothing he does indicates that any of you are telling him where to go, and yet he still leads you right to Dave's funeral and sits down at Jade's feet. I hate this, Karkat whispers.
Okay, come on. We have to move,
Gamzee says, and shudders. He leads you both up to the front, where the other sailors are gathered at the edge of the slightly raised platform. There's large photographs of Dave, but there's a collage of smaller photos, too. You're in a few, and at least those look like Dave being himself and not posing for an official picture. You drag your eyes away from the empty box and look at Dave's devastated family. God, the empty box was better. Nepeta starts to give a speech about how Dave was a hero, how he was beloved by everyone. It's actually a pretty genuine speech, as those speeches go. It's not why you're here, though. I got the 9th coin, you whisper to Aradia. How? She whispers back. With Dave's eyes. Karkat's future vision just happened, and it made me realize where they were, you say, as quietly as you can. So where's the 10th? She says behind her hand. I feel like I've seen it already, you say, and then think. I don't know why I said that. I've not seen it, but we're out of time, Aradia whispers as Gamzee moves to the center of the stage, making all of you follow with. Right. You have to sing. Gamzee is the one leading, which is a weird choice, given you and Karkat are right here. But then again, you suppose that he's been a sailor almost as long as Dave, right? In fact, every sailor is clearly ready and waiting for Gamzee to begin. Gamzee's hand gently graces the empty casket as you all walk to your place, and something of his expression is bittersweet. He faces the large crowd that is Dave's funeral, and breathes in. He swallows, making his throat bob. He presses his lips together and draws another breath in. You're close enough to hear how it shakes, but when he begins to sing, his voice is a perfect and steady bass, his words crystal clear.
Oh, I bid farewell to the port and the land, and I paddle away from brave England's white sands.
Your skin prickles as Gamzee's voice fills the space. You feel something electric in the air. It's not balancing, but it's something. You can still feel the balance itself as Gamzee sings, but there's something weird. You open your mouth and start to sing, joined by the voice of every sailor here. Every single one. Dave isn't dead, but where's everyone else? Where are the fallen? The last time you saw this song sung at a funeral on the ship, there were dead sailors here. You saw them. It's what helped you realize what the fuck was going on, but none of them are here, so where are they?
Plot a course to the night, to a place I once knew, to a place where...
Gamzee is cut off by a deafening bark. Beck is standing in the aisle of mourners and staring right in front of you with those endless black eyes. He barks, and it has no reason to be that loud. Nothing should be that loud. Cinnamon Toast and a host of tiny puppies are all barking as well, and holy shit, there are other dogs too. There aren't many dogs on this ship, but somehow it seems like they've all made it here. Embarrassed pet owners are hurrying after them, mortified that they're interrupting a funeral of all things. Beck's fur bristles, and he tips his head back in a howl so deep and primal that it strikes fear into your blood pusher. Alternia didn't have wolves, but it sure as shit had predators like them. Ancestors of yours long before Psionic worked out that being around them was a really fucking bad idea, and gifted you the survival instincts to say that this sound is terrifying. You back up far enough that you actually bump into the casket, though you grab it in paranoid fear that you're gonna knock the thing over at Dave's actual funeral. Solux! Karkat hisses, clearly fearing the same. You're both steadying the casket when something slams into the ship, and honestly, if you weren't holding onto it, this thing would be goddamn airborne by now. People are screaming, there's many somethings clawing on the other side of the wall, and now there's a huge circle burning itself into the metal. Literally, it's burning, like someone is using a welding torch from the other side. A vision of Dave repairing your wall comes to mind. It looks just like the damage that you did to your wall. You float over the casket and land on the other side by the wall. The marks are burnt into the metal, but it's cold, like it was done ages ago. You walk past the edge and jump when your shadow doesn't move with you right, except as you stare at it, you realize you can see details on his face, something shadows don't have. The shadow reaches out and curls his arm around something you can't see. His hand curls in, and then you see a glimmer of gold between his fingers. What is happening? This doesn't make any sense, Karkat hisses. The 10th coin, Aradia whispers. There's 10 holes in this circle, and that's the 10th coin, or the shadow of it, at least. Maybe you have to copy its movement? No, I've already done this, you say numbly, almost in a dream.
Can't you just sort of reach out and...
Gamzee gestures vaguely at the wall. My head feels weird, you murmur. The U on the wall flips you off and waves the coin again, his arm still around something. With no better ideas, you reach out and take it. As soon as you touch the wall, the coin tumbles into your hand. You give me your coins, your mouth says without you. They have to. You've seen that they do. They will/have do/done so. Aradia, Gamzee, and Karkat look at each other, at you, at the version of you through the door, and then all reach for their eyes. Without having to actually touch anything, they each get a coin between their fingers and pass them to you. Now is when I sing. When I sang. All of the songs were his, but this one's mine, even if he showed it to me. You say numbly, stepping back a bit from the door, just a pace or two. Karkat starts to ask something, but Aradia shushes him. The song comes to your lips. You've simultaneously never heard it before, but you've also known it for longer than you've been alive. Both, at once. So, you sing, and so does the U on the wall. His lips move, just like shadows don't. As you sing, so does he.
Your shadowy double is holding something with one hand, but with his other, he points upwards to one of the burned-in marks on the wall. If this was a clock, which it's not, you could arrange and number the dots in a circle, and if you did that like a clock, then he'd be pointing at the first one. You have 10 coins.
Can't the future just wait? Can't the deadlines come fashionably late?
Other you is pointing a little more urgently at the first point as you float one coin out of your palm, but he doesn't need to worry. You somehow know your cue as well as you know your lyrics.
At which time starts to fly.
That's the moment that you put the first coin in, and of course it fits perfectly, but you don't falter in your song. You couldn't. You didn't.
Taking a break, ever making me retry. We nickel and dime every quarter to 2.
You didn't need prompting to put the second coin in on 2. Both of you are still you. Obviously you were going to do that.
If the future is bright, it doesn't shine with that end of the tunnel light. More like a deer in the headlights, sudden red lights, or you're dead lights as the anglerfish bite. It's not fair.
You nearly spit that last line out. This isn't fair. What happened to Dave isn't fair. Everyone having a funeral for him like he's dead isn't fair. Nothing and none of this is fair. You're fucking sick of not fair. You snap the third coin into place with a venom in your tone that probably wasn't needed, but you can't help. As you sing that and click the fourth coin into place, a scrape goes down the wall, the paint flaking off in line with deep gouges coming through from the other side. People are screaming in the background, but you can't stop. Your eyes are drawn to your double in the doorway and how he's not looking at you now, but it's something next to him, whatever he's holding on to as he sings.
I can't just rewrite decisions when life gets strange.
You'd say that you can and will. You're putting your fifth coin in after all. You're halfway, and yet you were always going to do this, right? So, are you rewriting anything? As the sixth coin goes in, the wall begins to bend with the door, like it's opening. Ever so slightly, but it's opening. The sound of clawing is deafening now, and black smoke is seeping through the crack. This seems really fucking bad! Carcat shouts. Solix, I don't think... Aradia begins. You're not supposed to stop him. He's already done it, Gamzee says, like he's working the idea out as he says it. They didn't believe you. No one let you have any hope that Matuna would really be rescued, and they just humored you. The same happened with Dave. These things just happen, but you can't let it go. You won't. You need Dave back. You got Matuna back, even if he was dead, but this has to help. It has to. You hate what you have to sing next, so it comes out bitter.
Move on, 'cause things never last. Just move on.
You fling the seventh coin at the wall, and it flares black as it lands in place, but then white as well, because it's always both. The door creaks open more. There are limbs coming out now, trying to pry the door open wider and wider still.
Why are we still spending so much time dreading our lives instead of living them? Why do we try to divert the river when the water is what will deliver us where we need to go?
The song shifts around you to something almost mournful. You put the eighth coin in and ache for it.
Time is always in limited supply, but we'll live to regret it if we get it and then let it slip by.
You slot the ninth coin in and stare at the 10th and final slot in the wall. You know as you hold up the 10th coin that this one was from Dave's eyes. You don't know how you know it, but you do. So you sing for him, for everything.
When your plans have been sidelined, every hourly chime could begin something new. So maybe it's time to let time pass through, not passing by, but passing through till the well runs dry, just passing through.
As you click the last coin into place, there is an almighty slam, and then everything explodes.
You're knocked to the floor as the wall swings open with the doorway that you've just made. Darkness, shadow, fog, and white haze all spill through. A ghost runs through your face, and you reflexively pull Psionic and Matuna to you. You don't know if they'd been here this whole time, but now they're right by you. The other balancers certainly have their own ghosts at their sides.
The fuck did you do?
Matuna shouts as you get to your feet. I don't... You stumble as a migraine hits you like a baseball bat. You stagger to face the door, and for a split second, you see your own face an inch from you, and then someone else slams into you. You grab for whoever it is, and both stagger to get your feet under you properly. Only then do you look him in the face. Dave? You blurt out.
The hell did you just do? What? You can't understand everything else that he's saying because he's cursing you out in Spanish. This is the wrong Dave. The right one, also. The one from the past. He must have come through the door, but of course he did, because you dragged him through it. Somehow. God, your head hurts. What the hell is that? Karkat shouts. He's staring up at the ceiling, and there's a swirling black cloud of something up there. But directly underneath it, there's a ghost staring up at it. Dave! She shouts. Vriska? Matuna yelps. I don't think that should be open, Aradia says in a slightly high-pitched tone of alarm. The door is still open, and the void outside looks, bad. You're not an expert in spaceship design, but you think that giant holes through space and time in the external walls are probably not good. Probably violates some kind of health and safety ordinance. There's already several ghosts trying to push it shut, a few of which you recognize. Oh my God, is that? Dave from the past whispers, still holding on to you. David, cierra la maldita puerta! Rosa snaps at him, trying to push the door shut with the other members of her family. She doesn't look fully like she did last time, what with the missing eye thing, but she's still managing to give her son a look that makes him jump and sprint to go do what she said. Whatever that was. You still continue to not speak Spanish. This place is suddenly filled with ghosts. There's ghosts in among all of the terrified mourners, more ghosts than people. They're leaning over every railing, floating here and there, but none of them are near that black swirling cloud at the ceiling. The door creaks, and then everything goes black. It's as if the whole idea of light was turned off entirely. There's not even a glow from your eyes. It's infinitely black. People scream. There's a crash, a bang, and then the light comes back. Dave's casket is on the floor now, opened and flipped upside down. You hear a terrified shriek from underneath it and a very loud, Jesus fucking Christ! Before the whole thing is violently kicked away, and a terrified but absolutely alive Dave scrambles back from underneath it. Dave! You're not the only person to scream his name, but you are the only person with psionics powerful enough to get to him first. You crush Dave's warm body to yours, feel him breathing, feel his hands grip tight on your stupid formal suit. You pull it back enough just to see him, to see that it's really him and that he's every bit as alive as you knew he had to be this whole time. I knew you were alive! I knew you were coming back! You almost shout at him.
That makes one of us. I didn't think I was gonna make it. But I heard you. I heard you singing.
Dave laughs, almost crying, but it doesn't matter because he's here. He's here. He's alive, and fuck what everyone said. You knew it!